All right, everybody, welcome back to Honey Ridge Homestead. Tonight, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build your own solar extractor. So you can take the old honeycomb from your hives and render it down for wax, or if you're into bee cutouts or bee rescues or removals, and you end up with a bunch of honeycomb that you don't have anything to do with, you can build you a solar extractor and melt it down, melt the beeswax out of the comb. And if there's honey in there, it'll also melt out. And then what happens is the honey and the wax will go into a pan. Once the wax cools off, it'll harden and rise to the top. Basically in one of them little pans right there, that's what I use. So anyway, what I wanted to show you, this is my first generation solar extractor. Used it last year, worked out exceptionally well, but I think I've made some improvements. But I'll walk you through this one here real quick. Basically, it's just you can see it, just a black box made out of plywood. I've got a window on top. Of course, it's dirty right now. You'd want those to be very clean when you put your window or your glass on top of it or whatever. Anyway, just a basic box. Okay. What I've got here on the front, you see the little handle, a couple hinges. You pull the handle down, and that gives you access to the front, which is where you can put your pan. So like I said, you can put your pan in there, basically, so when you render down your your honeycomb, that'll fit in there like that, okay? Now, the problem with this particular design is the box has to be on an angle, so everything melts down into the pan. Well, the problem is the pan is also on an angle. So what I've experienced in last year was my pan would overflow and then run out of the top here, as you can see down here on the front of the box. So the new plan or new design is to have a flat bottom extractor. That way the pan will rest flat, and then I shouldn't have much overflow if I do. You've also got to be mindful that you can't just keep putting honeycomb in there and expecting it, not to overflow. But the problem with this one here is, like I said, I could only get so much wax in here before it would overflow to the front. Again, because the pan is at an angle. If the pan's laying flat, that gives me the entire capacity of the pan to hold beeswax and honey. Okay, so another part of the solar extractor is the pan on the extracting pan, I guess is what we'll call it. Okay, so let me take the glass lid off here. Like I said, and also too, this is not my original lid. I had one that actually fit. I built the box to fit the glass that I had, but it fell and broke. So I've just got a piece of glass window laying up here that will serve the purpose. Now, this will absolutely still work, okay, as long as you got your glass clean, and the more sunlight, the better to penetrate inside the box and heat up and melt the wax, okay? You would want to ratchet strap, this window onto the box to keep it from blowing off or anything else, okay? Like I said, this box is still completely 100% usable. It's just, I've just got a better design, and I think it'll work out a whole lot better for us, okay? So again, let me pop this glass off here. Okay, so on the inside of the solar extractor is your extracting pan, okay? This is a piece of aluminum. It's actually a street sign that I got at the Peddler's Mall and modified it a little bit, all right? What I've got going on here basically is the pan is bent in the middle, as you can see right there. I bent it in the middle shape, doing a V shape, so everything, all the wax would run in towards the center and then down through the grates, okay? The pieces of wood are on here because what I discovered was once the honeycomb got hot and it started melting, everything just slid to the front. which kind of, just reduced how much honeycomb could be, melted. If I'm not using all this space up here, it's just all going down and sliding and gumming up my holes, or my little filter holes there. This little piece here, again, I added after a couple times and, trial and error basically, because what happened is, and I had smaller pieces of wax, beeswax and honeycomb that would go in between my little blocks there and then still run down and block the holes up. So now, because all you need is just the liquid, the honey and the wax to run underneath what I'm calling the gate, okay? So that all run down underneath the gate into the strainer hose. Now, those strainer hose aren't gonna strain all the dirt and stuff, okay? Let me show you a real easy trick that I learned that's gonna apply to the next one also, as far as filtration of the wax and honey. However, let me show you one of the other reasons why I'm building a new solar extractor. This particular pan, again, this was my first go around last year. It did work, but some of the things that I've learned, I'm just gonna put in this new design. But the problem with this particular one is my pan doesn't come out very easy because I've got it kind of wedged in there. Okay, so especially with one hand, I can only imagine how hard this is gonna be to get out. So I got to start it at an angle, pull it up at an angle, rotate it backwards, do a backflip, a couple gainers, and then the splits, and then then my pan will come out, okay, or my solar pan. And this is the inside of the box, just real quick. Again, you can see that my pan, my catch pan here is setting up at an angle, and it's just not going to work out very good, okay? All right. So again, I have my extracting pan here. Well, like I said, it's aluminum, and it's a street side. Once again, got it from, the Peddler's Mall. They sell them all the time. And again, what I did was I basically bent it up at an angle. You can see that now, it's a V shape. And so everything runs to the center. Now, what I was saying earlier about these drain hose or filter hose, let me show you a real easy way that filters the wax and the honey, and it's almost a one-time thing. I was amazed when I seen it. Someone else on YouTube did this. I would love to give that person credit, but I can't remember who I seen it from. But it's a super simple technique that you don't have to do multiple strainings. It's ridiculously stupid how good this thing works. So let me show you. Okay, this is it. Basically a paper towel and two paper clips. All right. Now I'm using just some shop towels because that's what I had handy, but it works absolutely the same. I do say that a little bit thicker paper towel works a little better than the cheapies, okay? But again, this is all you have to do. Come over here to your extracting frame, lay the paper towel down there to cover up your hose, like that. Take your clips, clip it on there so it doesn't slide off or anything, and then, press it up here nice and tight. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed, okay? And again, it's so ridiculously easy. A caveman can do it, as they say. What happens is the wax will melt, it'll come down, wax and honey, and it'll start saturating this cloth, okay? When it saturates enough, basically, where it's gonna start running through, all the dirt and all the bees, legs, and butts and everything else, it's gonna filter through these, through this paper towel. And it will come out, I promise you, 80% cleaner than anything that you've probably done before. It's amazing. And then what I've done after that is I'll take that rendered wax, once I've separated it from the honey, put it back on here again, change my towel out, and filter it again. Like I said, because once this thing gets saturated, all of that liquid will just run right over top of this and filter straight down through this paper towel. it's crazy. I mean, it's so simple, it's crazy. Anyways, so that's the extraction pan, okay? And my new design, like I said, is going to be easier to fit in, easier to operate, easier to just, everything's going to be easier now that I've got a little bit of experience behind me. And, you know, after I learned from last year, okay? So, like I said, and plus my new design is actually going to have legs on it, because last year I had to set it on a table, you know, like a little folding table. I had to set it out in the driveway, in the sun, you know, and it occupied a table, plus the table was a little bigger. My new design is actually, I'm just going to build legs coming off of my solar extractor, so it's its own little separate unit that's self-contained, okay? All right, stand by. One more thing before I get to the new design. Like last year, I built, again, here's the solar extractor that I built last year. It was made up of some scrap particle board. It was, you know, or OSB board, I should say. It was practically falling apart. Literally spent hardly anything on this extractor. Matter of fact, I don't think I spent anything. I had everything on hand. So, you know, making a solar extractor is not the most difficult thing in the world. You know, it just depends on how easy you want to make things for you. Basically a black box of anything with a light shining through the top of it at an angle, you know, your wax is going to melt down into a pan. So, like I said, it's really not rocket science. And like I said, last year, this box cost me absolutely nothing. But as you can see, the wood is not in the great shape. It's rotten. It's flaking up and getting ready to fall apart. So, but anyway, like I said, you can start out with nothing, basically, okay? Now this year, I've got a brand new piece of plywood, you know, the best grade that Noah's Ark could have at Lowe's because it's so warped. But anyways, it's 3/4 inch plywood. I've got a design laid out. Now, again, my measurements and designs are going to be different. What I'm basically here to do tonight is to show you a basic, you know, design. I'll give measurements and things like that, but yours could be a lot different because it depends on how you do your pan and your extracting pan, okay? I plan on using those basically roasting pans, I guess, disposable roasting pans, and place underneath the extracting pan so everything will run down in it, all right? But again, you know, this is a flat bottom design. These are my two side panels right here and here. It's shorter in the front than it is in the back. This design, I'm also going to put the pan in from the back, I think, instead of from the front side, because what I noticed, even with that, there's going to be some bees hanging around too, because they're going to be smelling that honey and wax inside that. So these solar extractors do draw a little bit of company. But anyways, what I've done, this is, I think, 12 inches from the bottom to the top of the first side, and then 18 inches on this end. And then basically I flipped it over and mirrored it so I could save some, you know, try to save material. So I've got 18 inches from this direction and then 12 inches over here. Now basically I've just got one square with a diagonal that I'm going to cut into it, okay? I've got, that's the front, that's going to screw to the front of the box here. Draw some stuff out of the way. This piece right here is going to be the bottom, okay? Now I've got the design where the sides are going to screw in to the side. So it's going to screw into the side up against the bottoms. Okay, it's not going to rest on top. It's going to screw into the sides. Okay, the little front piece up here is actually going to be set on the inside. Okay, so it's going to be set on the inside. And here's the back section right here. It's going to be flush mounted on the back because I'm basically, when I get that done, I'm going to cut it in half and put hinges on it so I can open it up, you know, where to lever up, and I can put my trays in the bottom, okay? So anyways, like I said, this is gonna be a basic design. I'm not gonna throw a bunch of numbers at you because yours will be different than mine more than likely, okay? If you want my measurements exactly, just comment down below and I'll be more than happy to, you know, shoot them to you or whatever, or copy you back, okay? All right. All right, so we're back. As you can see, the design's changed a little bit. Again, flat bottom, angled at the top. That way, I can get a lot of sunlight in there. I didn't want a flat top. obviously, because you don't have so much sun to come in. If you have it angled, it gives you more exposure to the sun, and that's what you want. Okay, right now I've just got it kind of held together with a clamp. I'm just kind of checking things out. Because again, this is another prototype. Before I screwed it all together, whatever, I did discover, because of the width of my extraction pan, my catch pans will actually sit in there sideways instead of long ways like my other one did, because it was so narrow, okay? This is a good benefit because of where my drain holes are on my extraction pan. We got a lot of drain holes that go the width, and that takes up, it'll go in the catch pan a lot easier. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyways, I just wanted to show you real fast. Everything seemed to be working out. Measurements seemed to be working out. Like I said, I've got the front board setting on top of the bottom board, and it's flush to the top, basically. The side panels here, they and again, everything's not square, so don't be getting on to me. The side boards are going to sit on the bottom also. They're going to sit on the bottom also. Of course, they'll be screwed into the sides, okay, of the bottom board. And the back board, like I said, pretty much just covers the entire back of the entire box that ties everything together, okay? What I'll do is cut a strip through the center there so we can flip this up, and or I might not, because I got to take the top off anyway, so it may just be easier to make it solid. Well, I will, because what I discovered last year when I didn't put an access pan in it, I still had wax on top that was still processing, and I needed to switch pans out. So I didn't want to stop the process by taking my extraction pan out, or taking the solar lid off, the extraction pan out, switching pans, or switching, catch pans, putting the extraction pan back in while it's still melting wax and freaking honey everywhere, okay? So, yeah, you'll need an access door in my personal opinion. So that's what I'll do. I just remember that as I'm talking here. So, all right. All right, everybody, I want to give you a quick walk around real quick of just what I've got roughed in so far. I'm not going to bore everybody with, measuring each one of the screw holes there and drilling them out. But, if you're curious real fast, it's 3/8 from the edge. And then I went, about every 2 to 3 inches, thereabouts, all the way around. Okay. So anyway, this is, it's pretty simple. Like I said, you're just building a box. All right, you can get as fancy as you want to, I guess, with it. I'm just building a box right now. What I've done here is nothing special about the box, really. I mean, like I said, you're just building a box. You can make it as fancy as you want to. What I've done here is I put a couple door hinges on the back right here, so my door will open up. And then I've just got some window clasps here on the side. A repurposed cabinet door handle, and another clasp on this side. Basically, like I said, you want to have an access back here in the back. Okay, open these up for you real quick. Okay, that way you can open this door up And then your catch pans, okay, whatever you decide to use, I'm using these. Catch pans slide right in here. And they'll just slide it to the front. Your extraction pan. Your extraction pan will go on top, basically, and like I said, everything's gonna run down inside your catch pan, okay? When you get ready to change out catch pans, just pop open the back door, leave your extraction pan in place, and slide a new pan in, okay? And like I said, it's up to you on, what kind of hardware you want to throw on here or whatever. This just works good for me. Like I said, this is all material that I had laying around the shop. You don't have to spend a great deal of money. Like I said, I've seen people use black totes, that you buy from Home Depot or whatever, or Lowe's. And they'll just put a glass window over top of it, and there it is. But anyway, like I said, we do a lot of this. We render a lot of honeycomb down and process it because we do lots of extractions and lots of bee removals and lots of bee rescues. So we end up with a lot of comb a lot of times. So we want to render it down, process it back, and get some product out of it, I guess. All right. Well, I'll get back to it here, and I'll show you the lid here in a little bit, and the interior when I get some more done. All right. Okay, so now I'm working on the lid, basically. I took some 1x2 material. Let's just lay it up there for a second. 1x2 material, measured up, my length and my width here of the solar extractor. Cut it out, like I said, pretty straightforward. Cut out 4 sides, basically. Glued and stapled them together. And I've got a piece of plexiglass here that you probably can't see. Anyway, that's hilarious. There's a piece of plexiglass, there we go, that I'm gonna cut to fit my lid. And the lid will lay down, basically, it's hard to do with one hand, y'all. Anyways, we'll edit this part out, maybe. Anyway, the lid's gonna overlap the box and basically rest on top of the plexiglass. I'll screw the plexiglass down to all 4 sides and probably use some kind of silicone sealant just to give it some added support. Okay, we'll get back. So as you can see, laid the piece of plexiglass up on top of my wood frame, took a router with a flush cut bit on it, and just went around the edge of the plexiglass. I got 4 little screws, hold it down temporarily. My first screw actually cracked it because this is kind of thin plexiglass, so I would recommend pre-drilling your holes just to be on the safe side. So that's what I'm gonna do next is get the rest of them drilled in place. Get this nice and secure. I may go ahead and get it all painted up and stuff first. Okay. So I'm working on the legs now. This is some scrap material that Lowe's gives away in their shipping and receiving department. Basically, this is what they stack lumber and stuff on. So they're giving it away for free, but these are nice 4x4 posts that I'm gonna cut and I'm gonna notch out basically and cut and set them on here to make legs. I mean, it's gonna be heavy duty as crazy. I mean, again, I'm building this long term. Nowhere near, I'm making it overcomplicated and stuff, but I'm having fun out here. It's going to be all self-contained. This is basically the industrial version of a solar extractor. So anyway, what I'm going to do is cut these 4x4 posts where I need them, basically, and notch them, mount them on there, have some legs. Probably put a cross member on here. That way they'll be safe. It's nice and strong. As you can see, legs are cut out, notched. Those will rest on the post, and the bottom here will rest on the seat. Notched it out 2 inches deep, so I'll have plenty of meat and material to screw into here. Cut them all the same length across the top. Like I said, these are heavy duty, so you guys can build however you like or whatnot. But I'm just trying to build this one here to be kind of industrial, last for a while. So, but I've got all 4 posts cut, and so let me get them attached real quick, and then I'll show you how it looks freestanding by itself. So the extraction pan goes in, and basically on that, we've got a board right here that the top of the pan rests on, and then we've got a board down here that the bottom of the pan rests on. You want to make sure this board's kind of pulled back, because where the drain is, it goes right here. You don't want that to get all over you don't want that wax and honey to get all over your equipment, basically. So, like I said, the backside door here, where you can get everything nice and easy, hinges up good, closes perfectly. Latch this side down. Put the little trim piece on there to keep the, you have to have a little bit of a gap to open and close that door, but keeps the bees out. So I'll finish the lid real quick, get it all screwed together, and give this thing a paint job, and we're going to start melting wax. All right, there's the top. I'm dealing with some very thin plexiglass, so I had a little accident over here in the corner when I was trying to pre-drill. I thought it'd be a good idea to pre-drill bigger holes so my screws there wouldn't catch the plexiglass and cracked it. Well, just so happens my drill bit caught the plexiglass and cracked it. So anyways, what I discovered was just using these self-tappers, these little self-tapping screws here, to go ahead and just burn the hole all the way through it and do it that way. So I'd recommend a little bit thicker plexiglass, or if you're using glass, whatever, just be careful with it, obviously. But like I said, most of the material I get here is salvaged. The only thing I bought was the 1 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. Everything else has been salvaged, or I've had here at the shop and just repurposed. So anyway, there's the lid. Let me get this thing I'm gonna get this thing a paint job over here. So once I get the paint job put on it, we will then I'll show you, I'll give you the grand tour basically. Oh yeah, by the way, there's my swarm catches. That's in a different video, but so anyway, I've got to get those hung up here pretty soon. All right, cool. Okay, here is the final product of the solar extractor. Give a quick walk around real quick. I still got to paint, the bottom of the legs, but it's more or less done. So just a quick walk around first, kind of give you overall view what it looks like. And there it is, all right there, okay? Like I said, the lid will come off. Okay, it comes completely off. And I'll do that because I'll have to show you how to take out the extracting pan. Sorry, I'm still doing all this with one hand. Okay, and there's the extracting pan. Like I said, put all your comb on there, it melts and does its magic, and goes down here, drains through your little improvised filter, goes through your drain holes. And there you go. Like I said, you can take the pan out, nice and easy. And then you look in the bottom and there's your catch pan. And I've got space for, like, you know, 2 catch pans. This is how you access it. Put a little trim piece over this back piece because there was a little bit of a crack going on. And if you get any cracks, you're gonna have bees flying around it and get inside, so you don't want that, okay? Pop that down, there you go. Now you have access to the inside of your pan. Reach in there, grab your pan, pull it out, and then you can, you know, switch out the pans and put another pan in there. Got a little handle, don't really need it, it just looks fancy. And then, like I said, you'll put it back on there, hasp it down. That way you can't get no bees inside, because like I said, you don't want that. And all that can be done with the lid kept on, okay? You swap the pans out, because like I said, there's gonna be bees flying around this because they can smell it. Plus you might have a few bees on the inside from, you know, when you extract the comb in the first place, okay? So I'll do another video later on down the road and show you it actually working. It works out great. And it works for me. Alrighty, if you got any questions, comment below. I'll be sure and answer them for you or give you any pointers that you need. Like I said, this is my 2nd version. That's #1 version over there, and it worked out great last year. #2 version is just gonna be a little bit more easier to handle. Alrighty, till we see you next time, be safe.